Hey guys, this is Tom Hanks. Welcome to another stream today. Today we're going to be doing another community challenge. It will be about the 1974 family car challenge. First of all, let me check something real quick. That's right. Then I'm just checking my sound settings real quick. Yeah, should all be good. Okay. So 1974 family car challenge. So basically, a family car where you took into consideration that, the fuel crisis happened, the oil crisis. So there's of course a couple of factors that are going to go into this. Um, I know that even in 1974, after the fuel crisis, like a lot of, especially the American sedans that still carried over their large engines but were significantly down tuned, they got better economy than before, sure, but the economy that they got was still not very good, and we will see some of the same in here. I'm sorry. Okay, brought automation back up, but that's okay. So we did have quite a few entries this time. And okay, so one more. So let's start at the beginning. So first up, I'm gonna show you guys my own car, which doesn't even have a name. I didn't really do a lot of tweaking for this. Like I didn't do like I could have gone, a lot further with this than I actually did. So this is a large sedan. So I went basically American style. And it has a 5.2 liter V8. It has, pretty low cam profile. Not a whole lot of power, only 132 horsepower, which really isn't a lot for 5.2 liters, but it's basically how it was back then. Hey, Dr. Love, how's it going? This has a 3-speed automatic as well. Hard long knife for Antares as the challenge asked for. Solid discs. No under tray. Premium and premium, which is why it's good in family premium. 99.3 is totally okay. Standard safety, hydraulic power steering, soft suspension. Kind of soft anyway. The roll angle is pretty high though. And it costs $18,000 with a 30% markup, so that's quite reasonable. Uses a lot of fuel still, but again, we're in 1974 and we're using carbs on a V8, so even if carbs are getting better efficiency in real life, this is automation and carbs are a little bit underpowered in that regard. Then again, this also only uses a single barrel eco carb rather than, quad carbs or whatever, which would be more efficient. Yeah, I mean, don't worry about 95 horsepower. Sure, this has 132, but it weighs a lot. I imagine your car weighs a lot less, right? Right, so that would be my car. I've already exported everything into Beam, by the way, except for this, which just arrived. So I don't need to do that anymore. So there's the Alfa Romeo, which was sent Excuse me, where was... Oh, by Carlo Vincenzetto. Okay. So this, yeah, does look like an Alpha from the front. Obviously with the triangular grille, with the dual headlights. The body shape, obviously, just the body that he chose. Interestingly, this has a big lip down here, even though it probably doesn't need it. But yeah, the styling is good. Let's take a closer look at the engine. Started with 122 horsepower myself, but detuned to 109. Inline-6 chopped in half V12 is possible, right? Yeah, I mean, why not? If they do it the other way around, combining two inline-6s to one V12, why not do it the other way around as well? This is a 2.5 liter V6, dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, with a cam profile of 51. We have 4 barrel carbs, 1 reverse flow, 1 straight flow muffler. We've got a 5-speed manual, doing 0 to 100 in 9.4 seconds. Too bad this isn't about performance, this challenge. Otherwise, this car would be doing relatively well. Hot long life road tires, 15-inch rims. What's the wheel span on this, by the way? It's actually not too bad. Solid discs all around, semi-clad on the tray, premium, and a phonograph. Okay. Then hydraulic power steering and advanced safety and hydropneumatic springs. And we get a car that costs $22,700. Doesn't do particularly well in like family premium. It's more on the sporty side, which is why it does well in GT and family sport premium. This is not exactly what we wanted though. Sure, 15.4 liters is kind of a lot of fuel to be using, but remember it's the 70s. Cars back then just weren't fuel efficient the way that they are now, except small cars, I guess, but not compared to today's small cars. I like the styling. I'm not a huge fan of the engine. I just feel like it was. I don't like the tune basically. In an eco or in a in a car that's focused on day-to-day driving, I would like more bottom end torque as opposed to lots of mid and high RPM torque. But we'll see how this drives. It's an alpha, it should drive well. Yeah, let's move on. When you look at the Pluto, look close at the rear. Yeah, I think I saw it already. Next up is the GMG Cleveland, which was sent in by Sedan 57 Chevy. I like this thing. I like the way it looks. Looks very classy, very American. It's big, lots of chrome. I like the two-tone paint job as well. The rims are era correct. Good job on the styling, I like it. Okay, now let's look at the engine. We've got a 3.6 liter single overhead cam, 2 valves per cylinder V6. And immediately I prefer the torque curve of this. just because it's more consistent throughout the rev range. And 122 horsepower isn't all too bad. We got 2 reverse flow mufflers for better for a quieter exhaust, which means better comfort. Yeah, good engine. The engine goes through a 3-speed automatic, an open diff, 210s up front, 205s in the rear. Maybe it was a misclick. I feel like it should be 205s all around, but not gonna judge too hard about that. We've got solid disc brakes all around. We've got the semi-clad under tray. We've got 5 seats and premium interior, premium 8-track entertainment, a hydraulic power steering system and advanced 70s safety. And then we have progressive springs as opposed to hydro pneumatic. And let's check out the price. $18,700, which is fine. It does okay in family premium. The low sportiness of, well, 0.0 is hurting it in that regard. But I believe that it should be pretty good driving this through the city. Just from the way it's set up, and the engine is good, you know. It's not gonna set any speed records, obviously, but you know, it doesn't have to. So yeah, I think this should be doing fairly well. I like it. I like it a lot so far, actually. Again, I've already exported everything to Beam, so no need to do that on the fly here. Next up is the Hatura sedan. Let me see. This one is by Hybrid Troni. This car uses the even larger version of the car we just saw. Again, looks very American, especially on the front. Again, nice two-tone paint job. A chrome stripe across the side. Same rims as we saw before. You know, classic looking taillight arrangement. It looks good. And now let's look at the engine. We've got an 7.9 liter, almost 8 liter V8 that is a pushrod V8, and it's making 260 horsepower. It's using heavy-duty cast conrods and pistons, 46 cam profile. You can see that while the number itself, you know, objectively, this is a decent amount of torque, but it is still a very rev-happy engine for what it is, and, well, relative to its red line, obviously. And it is running very rich, and that on a large carbureted pushrod V8 is not gonna make for very good fuel economy. I can tell you that much. We've got a 3-speed automatic. We've got hard long life road tires, obviously, 16-inch steel rims, solid discs on the front, drum brakes on the rear. So we are gonna have some braking issues with this car, most likely in Beam, because it's also heavy. It's over 2,000 kilograms. It's got no under tray. It's got a premium interior and premium entertainment. Only 4 seats, actually. Considering that, you know, in this body, you can easily justify going for 2 benches and have 6 seats. It would be nicely, it would be nice and spacious in there still. 70s advanced 70s safety, standard springs, and it costs $23,820. It does not do well in any of the categories I would have liked it to do well in. It could do well potentially in Family Premium if it had a 5th seat. Does not do well in any of the city categories. And it uses too much fuel. 41.1 liters per 100 kilometers is too much. It just, you know, that is twice as much as about that is twice as much as you know, the average, or you know, some of the lower efficiency cars we have in the competition. So, you know, you went for power, and it is fairly quick for, you know, relatively speaking, compared to the competition. But this is 1974. You can't afford to make a car that uses this much fuel. You know, people are just not gonna buy it. So it kind of failed its mission. In that regard, the main reason is really just the fuel mixture. If that was leaned out to like 14.5 or 15, it would use a lot less fuel. Sure, it wouldn't make as much power, but, you know, driving gas station to gas station in that era, yeah, where fuel prices skyrocketed, yeah, not necessarily something you want to do then. Next up is the Chidosha Kogaku. That was sent in by Caligo. Okay, now this thing is more Datsun style. More of a Japanese style entry, which isn't bad, you know. I'm sorry for this, but I'm not a big fan of the front design of this car. I'm gonna leave it at that. The rear end is fine. I guess aesthetically this car doesn't speak to me that much, but you know, it's the inner values that count. So let's check it out. It's got a 1.8 liter 3 valve per cylinder inline-4 with an aluminum head. It's got cast components here, a 64 cam profile, single barrel eco. That doesn't make much sense in combination with the sharp cam profile. 100 ignition timing. Do you have my car? Yes, I do. It imported, like, it was literally visible on the screen during the stream already. Twin carburetor and a standard intake. 100 ignition timing is kind of weird. We've got a short cast exhaust. We only have 72 horsepower. I mean, that's a lot for a 1.7 liter in 1974. Oh, wait, 1.3 actually. Yeah, the family is 1.7. This particular variant is only 1.3. I got it. It's got a 5-speed manual transmission, an open diff, hot long life road tires, solid discs on the front and drums on the rear. A relatively nice brake balance. And then no under tray premium, 5 seats. And then advanced 70 safety and hydro pneumatic springs. That brings us to a price of $17,565. That's not bad. What I don't like is that with a small engine like this, it should be more economical than it is. Considering that it's also a small car. You know, it only weighs 1156 kilograms. has 71 horsepower and a 1.3 liter engine. It should be more economical than 17.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Like, that is more than some of the V8, large sedans that we have in the competition. So, fuel economy isn't its strong point. So let's see what the other cars have to offer. There's the Pluto planet, and this one was sent in by, let's see, that carpenter guy, which I guess it is you, Dr. Love, right? Finally get those names right. So, this car, I dig it. It's it has the roof rack with 2 skis. I think that would be. I was wondering what these would be. They kind of look like skis, actually. With a rear wiper. This sort of graphic is kind of quirky, kind of weird, but not bad. I like the color. I like the overall theme of the car, because this is lots of plastic as well for protection from bumps or scratches or whatever. Yeah, looks good. Looks very much like a 70s family car. And let's see. Let's check out the engine. This is a 3-liter dual overhead cam 2-valve per cylinder inline 6. We have cast internals, 29 cam profile, 4-barrel carburetors, 14.5 fuel mixture, revs to 5700 RPM, which isn't bad for the time. And then 2 reverse flow mufflers. We make 105 horsepower. 4-speed manual. And then hard long life tires, 200 millimeters all around. Steel rims. Solid disc brakes front and rear, which is good. And then no under tray, 5 seats, premium and standard actually. And then we have advanced safety, hydro pneumatic springs, and a roll angle of 8.6 degrees, which would kind of probably disturb me in Beam, but we'll have to find out about that later. On the markets, this costs less than $17,000. Less than 70,000 as well, but less than 17 in this case. It does very well in family premium, family sport premium, city premium. The economy isn't too great, but it's right around average from what we've seen so far, I think. The roll angle isn't right. Yeah, it is. And overall, I have a really good impression of this so far. Looks good. Lots of details. Nice and nice features that it has. It's got an inlet 6. It makes a reasonable amount of power. Yeah, it does very well in the markets as well. Oh, in BeamNG it's different, yeah. Of course it's different in BeamNG. Like, that's just how it is, unfortunately. They haven't been able to, mimic directly in BeamNG what you get in automation. Yep. Next up, the Puginus Escargot au fromage. Okay, sorry, I don't speak French. Looks unique. Looks kind of unusual. Is the word I'd use. Not necessarily bad, but the color is very unusual. The proportions are very classic. The rims are very classic. The front grille and big dual head and big single headlight on either side. That's very traditional. The color is kind of. Anyway, let's check out what engine this has. So this is a 1.9 liter inline 5 single overhead cam, 3 valve per cylinder. Hyper eutectic cast for lower emissions, because you know that's the future, obviously. 34 cam profile, which is reasonable. We have single power eco with twin carburetor and performance intake. 2 reverse flow mufflers. 75 horsepower. 3-speed auto. So it is not the fastest car in the world, but it doesn't need to be. So we've got hot long life road tires, 160mm front and rear. Solid discs on the front, drums on the rear. No under tray. Premium and standard here. -1 quality actually, for saving some costs, I guess. And then advanced 70 safety, progressive springs. The price of $12,900. That is very affordable, actually. Too busy with the sticker family. Has the alpha already been reviewed? Yes. Can you go back with the video? I think you should just be able to. I think you should just be able to go back in the stream itself. It should have like a timeline that you can click back to. It doesn't look that way to me on my own stream because it's my stream, but for you guys that should be a possibility. But anyway. Yeah, this does very well in family premium, city premium. Very nice. Just not the biggest fan of the color, to be honest. Next up is the Seville Road Cruiser Imperial. This was sent in by, let's see, buyers 1998. This is a very nice looking car in my opinion. Sure, the color is a little bit too metallic for the 70s in my opinion, but the color scheme is very nice. I like it a lot actually. Gold and silver. Nice front end. I like these door handles on this car. Small little detail here. Adequate rims, I would say. Relatively simple but clean rear end as well. I like it. Now let's check out the engine. In this case, we have a 4.1 liter dual overhead cam inline 6. 4 valve per cylinder. I think mine was a bit too expensive to reach there. I just looked at what they wanted. It looks like a Toyota Cadillac, baby. Looks like a Toyota Cadillac, baby. Kind of, yeah, actually. Sort of like a shrunken Cadillac with, you know, some Toyota features. And then 7.3 compression, 24 cam profile. 4-barrel carburetors on this one. And then a tubular exhaust, which is too small for the engine, but this gives you the sort of low-end torque-heavy, torque curve and power band. We make how much power? 147 horsepower. And we've got a 4-speed manual. This does 0 to 100 in 8.6 seconds. Which is quite quick for 1974. It doesn't really need to be that fast. Let's see how it does in other areas. 175mm on front, 180 on the rear. Solid discs on the front, drums on the rear. Very small brake sizes, so we are gonna have quite a lot of trouble stopping this thing. We've got a premium interior and a premium 8-track. We've got advanced 70 safety. We've got progressive springs. Relatively stiff springs, actually. Lots of front camber. And then the price for this one is $24,868. It doesn't actually do that well in family premium. Any of the city categories. Family sport premium is at 64, which is could be better, I guess. No offense to reference of a car you'd see in cartoons represent cars in that era. Actually, yeah, completely right. My car doesn't make sense though. A car with skis on the roof. But it's front-wheel drive. How is it gonna drive on the mountain in snow? I mean, yeah, like the Pluto did make a pretty good impression, actually. Oh yeah, now I see what one of the problems with this is as well. Is that it's a fairly small car and light car, but it has a big inline-six on the front, so the width distribution is 63 to 37. Yeah. This wheel spin is actually not too bad because you have an automatic locker diff. But that in turn is going to make the car oversteer quite a lot in beam. So not really what you'd want in a family sedan. So that was the Seville Road Cruiser. Next up we have the Cobra GL Trim 120. Again, sort of an unusual color, but I don't know, for some reason it sort of seems to suit this car a little bit better. I'm not a huge fan of the way that the rear end on the wagon version of this car body looks. I'm just, you know, not sold on the basic shape of it. Also, those rims are not era correct, I think. At least not the way you did it with the black behind it. Let's check out the engine. It is a 2.6 liter inline 4, dual overhead cams, 16 valves. 2.6 liter, yeah. Then we have heavy-duty forged conrods, hyper-eutectic cast pistons. Users, you mean fashionable. Same, mine has a big grille on the back. It's a front engine car. Okay. We have a cam profile of 54, 9-to-1 compression. 12.8 fuel mixture on DCOE carbs with twin carbs and performance intake. So you went all out power on this one. And then exhaust diameter is at 63.5 millimeters, which is how much? 2.5 inches. Tubular headers, 2 straight-through mufflers. Not gonna give you the best results in terms of comfort and therefore in terms of, you know, family cars. We've got a 5-speed manual gearbox, 7.6 seconds 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. Again, very quick, but not necessarily. That's not necessarily the point of this challenge. We've got 195s on the front and 165s on the rear. That's a weird setup, but that tells me that this car is almost certainly front-wheel drive. I'm too Italian to build boring German cars. Like, I like the drag car challenge from Russia. One dude had a rear engine drag car, but had the exhaust in the front. Yeah. I wanted to enter the drag racing challenge as well, but my car wasn't. You know, I couldn't make my car fast enough, and also I couldn't stop it from wheeling, and I didn't really have all that much time to try and sort it out, which is why I didn't enter. So. Yeah, solid. We have disc brakes all around in this one. We have no under tray. A standard interior and standard 8-track. Not really the best for a premium market, to be honest, or apparently not really the best for any market. And then hydraulic power steering, advanced 70s safety. The suspension is fairly soft actually, so it should do well in terms of comfort, but it doesn't. Might have to do with maybe the progressive, with maybe the springs, because hydro-pneumatic would do a lot for the comfort. It does sell for less than $15,000, but it doesn't sell particularly well anywhere. Also, the fuel economy is rather bad for a 4-cylinder. Yeah, it's powerful and it's quick, but you know, to the target audience, that doesn't really matter that much. In fact, it might be more of a negative for them, given the probably higher service costs than on a lot of other cars. I haven't really paid much attention to those, but I had way too much production units. I like your challenges more with the price and some good rules, but not with all these production units. Yeah, I mean, I do get the why you would include those in a challenge, because obviously with you know, you can make a car that is that meets the price rules but is over that is above the limit on production unit engineering time, and those numbers actually mean that it's gonna take a long time to build the car, and that will mean that you know, it's just gonna take forever to actually get the car out, and it may not be relevant anymore once it does. I feel like comfort was a weird one to crack for this. I found that help, but the first time around I was having 0 for no reason. Of course, it's a good rule, but it takes the fun away. Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's why, you know, this is the sort of thing where obviously higher production units and engineering time do also affect the price. So you can't go, you know, all out quality spam and drive these numbers up. The prices are going to increase as well, and you might be over budget then. So yeah. Anyway, the Imp 2105 that was sent in by Random41. The Soviets have arrived. Yeah, that's what I thought as well when I first saw this car. It's I'm not too sold on the rear end of this car. I think I don't like the taillights on this one for whatever reason. It's also weird how you can see the lamps of these two lights, but not of this one. Should have maybe chosen a different material component. There is sort of kind of, I don't. It's a minor thing, but still kind of weird. The design is very plain and simple. No. That tire up, that car is slammed. Yeah, actually. Also, you know, the tires stick out from the fenders. They're too wide. The engine in this is a 96 horsepower, 2.7 liter dual overhead cam, 16 valve inline-4, which is made from full aluminum. Lightweight forged conrods, forged pistons, 8.0 compression, 45 cam profile. Single barrel eco is kind of interesting. Plus 15 quality in the fuel system. Okay. 96 horsepower, 15.0 fuel mixture. 2 reverse flow mufflers. We have rear-wheel drive, 5-speed manual, sorry. Lots of overdrive. Open diff, 215s all around, 16-inch rims, disc brakes on all 4 tires. Plus 7 quality in the aerodynamics. And then 5 seats, premium interior, standard AM radio with -1 quality here. And then hydraulic power steering and advanced safety and progressive springs. Relatively stiff sway bars, actually. And then that brings us to a price of $24,709. And it doesn't do particularly well in family premium, city eco, anything like that. It does do okay. It does do okay in family sport premium, but you know, the fuel economy is good. That alone, however, is just not gonna. It's just not gonna save it, really. Because the comfort is too low, the drivability is too low. Service costs are actually not too bad. Yeah, it just doesn't do particularly well, and it's too expensive, I guess, as well. I say Italiano. I love Italy. I want to learn the language. Where are you from? Netherlands. 3 weeks ago. Amsterdam. Yeah, I've been to Amsterdam as well. This car, it could have a lot. It does have more potential, but it just doesn't do well where it should be doing well. It was just, I guess, aimed for the wrong market. Then the Nordic Motors F5 Eco. That was by Sergeant Snoopy. Amsterdam was the cleanest city I went to when I visited Europe a couple of years ago. What do you mean clean? As in, you know, not a whole lot of trash lying around, or as in not a whole lot of drugs going on? Because that I can... that would surprise me if you wouldn't see a lot of people using drugs in Amsterdam. You just probably went to the wrong place in Amsterdam. Here, if the police doesn't see it, it's legal, and most police officers don't care. You've never been to Vienna. Not a lot of yeah, that is very true in the Netherlands. Actually, they're really good about that. I've lived in Utrecht for a couple of months. Now I do the same job but working from home, and Utrecht is also very clean. Wait, TC Japan, but I can stick around for a long time. Oh, hey, Lada fan, how's it going? So anyway, this one by Sergeant Snoopy looks like a family wagon, definitely, it does. Very simple looks. Elegant, you know, a little bits of chrome here and there though. A roof rack as well. Oh, and this, we've seen something like this before, haven't we? And then we have, let's see what sort of engine this is. Huh? Paris was disappointingly filthy. I have never been to Paris actually, except for the airport. This is a 2.2 liter dual overhead cam 20 valve inline 5. We've got heavy duty forged conrats and forged pistons, 33 cam profile, single barrel eco, twin carbs, performance intake, 100 ignition timing, and rest to 5900 RPM actually, and then 2 reverse flow mufflers. It's front wheel drive going through a 3-speed automatic, making how much power again? 80 horsepower, okay. 195s all around, steel rims, solid disc brakes all around. Then we have semi-clad under tray. We have some wing angles on this one. Do we have? We have a front lip, and on the rear we have. There's a little spoiler here, I think. Yep. And then let's see. 5 seats, premium and standard. And then 70s safety, advanced 70s safety actually. And then progressive springs. The price is $16,600. It does very well in family premium and well, reasonably well in family. It does very well in city premium. Cleanest for me was Vienna. Vienna is not a very... Yeah, Vienna is not a clean place. Maybe... I don't know what area of Vienna you've been to, but most of Vienna is not a very clean place. I have to say, been there many times. 12.4 liters per 100 kilometers is actually decent. It does 0 to 100 in, well, 16.1 seconds, but it's not about that. Yeah, good family car, definitely. Very simple design, but yeah. So yeah, that was the Nordic Motors F5 Eco. Next up is the Turbo Adelante Brougham. Guys, we have 16 entries, I believe, this time. It's quite a lot. The Alpha, let's see. It had really good styling. I didn't like the engine all that much though. So we'll and if I remember correctly, it didn't do particularly well in the family market either. So we'll have to see how it drives in Beam, and I'm not gonna drive them on the racetrack. Anyway, Turbo Adelante Brougham, that was sent in by, let's see, that was by Donutsnail. I like the look of the car. Yeah, I like the look of the car. Very, very nice and elegant. I like the paint. I like the rims. I like the sort of hidden headlights behind the front grille. Looks nice. Yeah, the engine was a replica of the Busso engine, original Alpha engine, which is a legend for this. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a good engine, just not for a family car. You know, the the Busso V6 was a sports engine in its time. It wasn't necessarily an eco engine. So let's check out the engine of this car. Speaking of engines, it's a 4.6 liter Boxer 6 with push rods. That's weird. Lightweight forged conrods, forged pistons, 22 cam profile, 4-barrel single carburetor, performance intake. I'm not sold on the headlights here personally. I mean, I like him. And then tubular headers, single exhaust, which is actually too small, but two reverse flow mufflers as well. And then we have a 5-speed manual gearbox with an open diff, with hot long life road tires with 195s all around. This actually does 0 to 100 in 11.3, which is pretty good. Solid disc brakes all around. No under tray. As I said, I followed my Italian heart, but I still tried to make an eco Busso. Yeah, I mean, it didn't do all that well in terms of eco though. Premium interior and standard 8-track. Then we have advanced safe +7 quality in here actually. Then progressive springs. Very soft suspension. Roll angle is okay though, 6.9 degrees. And then we have 125.5 horsepower. It costs $17,000. Does very well in family premium, city premium. 65 in family is okay. It is a little bit too expensive to be doing very well there. Yeah, it's a good car. Fuel economy is about adequate. Sportiness is low, but this isn't about sportiness or on-track performance. Yeah, good car. I like it. Next up, the Volkswagen Golf, which was sent in by Spooling.42. I don't know, you may have heard of this car name before, the Volkswagen Golf. It is lime green here, though. Now, this is the, if I remember correctly, the first, the Mark 1 Golf actually had dual round headlights. I think some of them had dual, some of them had single round headlights. This one has the single headlights, obviously. I don't remember them ever coming in this sort of paint, and especially with the blue outline on the windows, and then a chrome stripe across the side. Also, I know this sounds picky, but the Mark 1 Golf actually had Volkswagen written here, and then the Golf and the model was over here. So that's kind of on the wrong side, but we're being nitpicky at this point. Mark 2 had dual headlights. Mark 1 as well, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, this has a, let's see, 1.1 liter inline-4 single overhead cam, 8 valves. It revs really high. It has a cam profile of 39. Just a GTI and Cabrio. There's a fuel mixture of 13.5 to 1, a dual barrel carb setup, 49 ignition timing, it revs to 7,000 RPM. And then it has 1 reverse flow and no second muffler. 4-speed manual gearbox, open diff, hard long life tires, 155s all around. Solid discs front, drums rear. Actually, the braking performance isn't too bad because this car is very light, 845 kilograms. And then we have no under tray, we have 5 seats, premium interior, standard radio. Then we have no power steering and advanced safety. We have progressive springs, gas monotube dampers. And a price of just over $10,000. However, it doesn't do particularly well. Like 69 in family is okay. 73 in City Eco. 66 in City Premium. It's alright. But I don't know, where is this car lacking? It's a front-wheel drive car, of course. It's missing some comfort, yeah, definitely. You could have easily gone for, like, you know, better entertainment, like standard 8-track or premium 8-track. And then you would have had a lot more comfort. I guess the suspension should be fine. And overall, yeah, it could be doing better, I think, in some areas. The reliability is, where is it? 64.4 is good. It's really, it's missing in comfort. And for the engine that it has, it uses too much fuel. 13.1 liters is, I think, one of the lower amount of fuel being used. But we have 50 horsepower from a 1.1 liter in and 4. So it should be using less than that. Next up, the Zabrava Zabra, another, you know, communist car apparently. This one was by Al Pacino. Okay. Let's see. I feel like the headlights are in the wrong place. It should be swapped with the indicators. Gives it a unique face, but I don't know if I like it. I like the color that you chose here. And the rear end is pretty okay, clean. The exhaust goes out to the side. Yeah, I mean it's okay. The exterior. It has a 20 valve single overhead cam, aluminium inline 5. Fast internals, 52 cam profile, revving up to what, 6100 RPM, making 131 horsepower, two barrels, 20 carburetors. Again, you know, not a very torquey engine. Makes basically nothing at 2400 RPM. Then we have a 4-speed manual with an open diff. It's a 0 to 100 in 9.4 seconds. 175 millimeters up front on the tires, 180 on the rear. Who's the other Italian? I don't know. 15-inch rims. Solid discs up front, drums on the rear. No under tray. Standard. And then 5 seats, of course. Standard 50 is safety. And then standard springs. Again, this car is fairly cheap, $15,000, but not very cheap actually, and it doesn't do particularly well in... I mean, it's a 60.6 in family premium, 62 in city premium, but that's not all of that amazing. So I'm not convinced by the styling, and the market isn't convinced by the stats. So overall, not the strongest entry we've had so far, I would say. Next up, the GL280. This was built by MK Mailer. Looks alpha-ish as well. Actually, if there was a triangular grill here, it would look alpha-ish. Since it doesn't, it looks a little bit more Japanese, actually. Bright red. Not a whole lot of flake going on. I'm not a big fan of the rear end, to be honest. I like the front. The rear is a little bit... takes a little bit of time to get used to. Hope I didn't miss too much. Storm knocked out the power here and the modem isn't hooked in the emergency power. Oh, fuck. Anyway, I think we're almost done. We have, I think, 3 more cars after this, but let's check out the engine. 95 horsepower from a 2.8 liter dual overhead cam 24 valve aluminium Boxer 6. 27 cam profile, 4 barrel carbs, reverse flow mufflers front and rear. We've got a 3-speed auto, which is nice. Open diff, 175s all around. Solid discs up front and drums on the rear. Lacking some brake force, but that is to be expected in most of these cars. Semi-clad under tray, premium interior, standard entertainment, 5 seats and advanced safety. And then we have progressive springs with gas monotube dampers and a fairly soft suspension setup. The roll angle is 8.1 degrees, which is not what you'd expect looking at this car. No red cars are Ferrari. Yeah. It's not like every red car is an Alpha. No, red cars are Ferrari. Yeah, but at the same time, you see Alphas a lot more commonly than Ferraris. And Alphas are also oftentimes red. Anyway, this car costs $17,700. Family premium the score is good. Family score is low. City premium score is good. Fuel economy is good. Yeah, so it's a solid all-around car, I would say. It does well. Not sure it's right for the challenge per se, but I guess it does just fine. Yeah, it does do fine in the challenge. Next up, the Le Belge VDB. Who was that by? Brisket. That was by Brisket. Okay, so another weird car with the blue lines around the chrome windows. I guess it's just if you use green and very flaky paint that it does that. The paint is too metallic, too modern, I think. Other than that, I like the exterior of this. Anyway, this has, let's check out the engine. It's a 1.3, it's a 1.7 liter family, but the car only has a 1.2 liter. Was it inline 3? Inline 3, yeah. Dual overhead cam, 12 valves. 35 cam profile. 4-barrel single carb. And performance intake. Very lean. And it revs to 6100 RPM. Even though it could rev a lot higher. It's got no first muffler and only a straight throw muffler. So it is going to be fairly loud. And then we have a 3-speed manual, open diff, hard long life tires, 170mm up front, 150 on the rear. It's kind of weird. And then solid discs on the front and drums on the rear. The brake sizes are extremely small on this, but the car is also very light, 769 kilograms. I think that's the lightest we've seen. Please don't show not my car because I have to go. I'll just do it, but I'm not here. I will see it later. Okay. Then semi-cloud on the tray. 4 seats, standard interior, no entertainment. Then we have basic 60 safety, standard springs, 20 amperes, passive sway bars, and sort of weird suspension setup here. This car only costs just over $10,000. It doesn't do particularly well in... I mean, it does do well in City Eco. But it's hurt by the zero comfort. It really is. That is its biggest downfall, I think. The economy is good. Drivability is good. The price is good, but, you know... just put something in the interior. Then it would be a lot better, I think. And then we have the Fase Fuengirola Auto C5. I butchered that name quite hard, I think. That was by Sebesek. Yeah, I don't know Spanish. Like, I do not speak any word Spanish other than gracias. And I like the look of this thing. I like the rear end as well. Very 70s. Auto C5, very nice. Yeah, this is a nice looking car. Under the bonnet, what do we have here? It is a 2.4 liter dual overhead cam, 24 valve inline 6, 39 km profile. Means that the torque isn't there super early, but it's not too bad. We got 4 barrel carbs, twin carburetor, standard intake, 1 baffled, 1 reverse flow muffler. And then we have a 3-speed auto with an open diff, hard long life tires, 180 all around, and then solid discs front and rear. Actually enough brake force apparently, except for utility, but you know, who cares about that in a family car. And then no under tray. 5 seats, premium interior, premium 8-track. Hydraulic power steering, advanced safety. And then progressive springs. Overall, a fairly soft suspension setup. Very smooth bump graph here. It costs $20,731. It does very well in family premium and city premium, so that is very good. 15.5 liters is adequate, I think, given the circumstances that we're dealing with the 70s. The reliability could be higher, I guess. But overall, it seems to be a solid car. Yeah, I like it. It's rear-wheel drive too, so it could actually be a little bit of fun. And last up is the RetroSteve Tour 1500 GL, which was obviously sent in by RetroSteve, aka Ryan Stecken. Let's see if it actually meets all the rules. Steel, front wheel drive. Okay. Let's see. It's a 1.5 liter. Yeah, 1.5 liter. Single overhead cam, 3 valves per cylinder, and 9.4. It's got hyper-eclectic cast pistons. It's got 35 cam profile. It does have a very nice smooth torque curve. 4-barrel single carb, 91 octane fuel. Short cast headers, 1 straight through, one baffled muffler. Let's see. It's front wheel drive with a 5-speed manual. Open diff. 165s all around. And then solid discs on the front and drums on the rear. Enough brake force actually, and it only weighs 900 kilograms. It's got a semi-clad under tray. It's got standard interior and basic entertainment, 5 seats, and then hydraulic power steering, advanced 70 safety. How was the VDB? The LaBelge, right? Progressive springs, gas monotube, passive sway bars, very soft suspension, and then how much does it cost? Ooh, it's very cheap actually, less than 10,000. 69 in family premium, 91 in family, 101 in city eco, 93 in city. So this is a very this car does very well in here. It uses not a whole lot of fuel, and it's light. It's a city car. The comfort isn't all that good, which is why it doesn't do well in the premium categories, but it does well in family and in city eco. So yeah, it should be fairly good actually. Looks decent as well. The LaBelge. Let's see. Actually, I still have to export this car, but LaBelge. Oh, this one. Yeah, the 0.0 comfort was its biggest downfall, which is why it didn't do particularly well in any of the markets. Other than that, it was okay, I think. This, on the other hand, this did well actually. It did pretty damn well, to be honest. When did cars start really switching to front-wheel drive? I heard most cars were rear-wheel drive until around this era. I could be confused on that. Depends. Like the Volkswagen Golf and Polo, which started in about this era, were front-wheel drive from the start. There were obviously front-wheel drive Cadillacs before that as well, and I think before that there were a bunch of front-wheel drive cars as well. So it wasn't really new by this point in time. So let's check out BeamNG. There should be a lot of new car files in there now. I'm gonna test drive all of your guys' cars, and that will be what leads us to a conclusion, really. And I'll be driving them in the city because that's that's what this challenge is about. So BeamNG, play free roam, go to the industrial area. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into my own car and drive to the point where I'm gonna be starting. My own car is this. So yeah, we're gonna be starting here. So let's go in alphabetical order. The Alfa Romeo. Euro 70s versus USA 70s. I do think we had one or two sort of Japanese inspired cars as well. So right off the bat, this car feels agile. Let's drive it up here. Let's see how it does. Over here, rides well. Let's see what it does if you drive off uphill. Actually feels relatively quick. Some understeer, but not too bad. Yeah, it drives relatively well. I mean, it doesn't strike me as being particularly understeery. It's not slow either, but well, I guess I can't really tell that much about comfort on these smooth roads. I guess I should set it up a little bit better so that we would have to jump down these edges here, and I actually accidentally just I guess chopped the mirror off or something like that. Yeah, I want to see what the suspension does when you jump down here. Jumping up them, this car seems very fine actually. Doesn't get unsettled by that. Let's check it out. Yeah, very nose heavy car. That did unsettle it quite a lot. So it doesn't drive badly, but I guess the fact that it's very nose heavy could hurt it some. It doesn't understeer that much. It likes to kick the tail out, which is probably not that good for a family car. And overall, it's a decent car. I think you could do better as far as a family car goes, but you know, for a sporty family car, it's decent. It's good. Next car would be, let's see, where do we? I still have so many like cars from previous challenges. I should get rid of them. Um, how to test the suspension? Drive it off. Just drive it off a hill and see what happens. It tests how well how well dampened it is. That's what I'm trying to test because otherwise the roads here are too smooth to really test that. Yeah, I do need to test the suspension somehow, right? And the right quality. Like I don't. Whoa. Okay, now it got unsettled here by quite a lot. This is front row drive, isn't it? It pulls decently up this hill, actually. Let's see what the suspension does here. Does actually fairly well. It remains stable as well. Brakes locking up very quickly, but actually they're still pretty effective. Let's take some corners with this. Feels lighter than the previous car. Here's the inside tire, but it actually does go around the corners better than the previous car, I think. Lots of wheel spin might not be very family friendly as far as the budget for new tires goes. Like, if you're gonna have to replace the front tires a lot if you drive this car, but for that, it actually, yeah, there I went too fast into that corner, but it does take these corners very easily and quite quickly, actually. So I like this one more. This is the Cobra. It drives well. It didn't do particularly well in automation, I think, and it has sort of curious design. Let's put it that way. Did we miss anything in between? I don't think we did, right? Uh-huh. Oh, enough power, I'd say, for a family car. Let's cruise a little bit. Decent over there. Good brakes. What did I just lose? I lost the exhaust. Now this car would be very loud. Pulls decently up the hill. Let's see how the suspension copes with the jumps. For that we need a little bit more speed to make it fair with the other cars. Nice. Brakes lock up very quickly in this one. Let's do some corners as well. Ooh, lots of understeer. And then the tail comes round. It just does feel a lot heavier and a lot lazier than the previous car, which would normally be fine for a family car, but we've had one that rides just as well and handles better, so that has to count for something. But this does a good... I mean, it's not as sporty as the last car, but overall it does a good job, and it was very good in automation, so I think this is a very solid car overall. Okay, that was my mistake. Next up, let's see who else we have. Yeah, next up is the GL280 Touring CA. Oh yeah, that was the Boxer 6. Fairly quiet actually. Let's see how it handles this. Well. Brakes could use a little bit more bite, I think. But they're not bad. Sets off just fine, but not at a rapid pace. But then, it's actually not too bad. Yeah, on the top end it does like to go a little bit more, but yeah, now it's sort of out of breath. It's actually slowing down here. It's very eager to turn in though, apparently. Very bouncy. But soaks up the jumps just fine. Brakes are good too, actually. Disregard what I said earlier about the brakes. They're adequate. The Boxer is really quiet in Beam. That's only because this car I think has 2 reverse flow mufflers, so it's as quiet as it can be. Normally, the Boxer 6 engines are very loud in Beam. This turns in very nicely, actually. Rides well from what I can tell. Turns in nicely, doesn't understeer too much, doesn't oversteer too much. Nice car. Although, how did it do in automation? I don't remember, man, it's too many cars. This, I think, didn't do very well in automation, did it? Next up, the GMG Cleveland V6, which I do remember did well in automation. Is this like the only V6 we've had, by the way? I think all the other 6-cylinder engines are either inline 6 or boxer 6. Let's accelerate a little bit. Yeah, actually it actually jumped over that. Brakes are okay. Power up the hill is a little bit of a problem, I guess. Yeah. Only 120-ish horsepower on a 1.5 ton car, nearly 1.6. But it did stay above 50 kilometers an hour, which would be the speed limit here anyway. So it can do it. Soaks up the bump very well. Huh? Yeah, brakes need rebalancing. Let's take some corners. I was reading chat there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Automation had an instance where it said brakes worked well. When you see the car became a dev box. Usually delete them often and go for a straight pipe. Yeah. Don't read chat and drive, kids. That is exactly why you don't text and drive. It's exactly that. Unless you have, well, a Tesla or another expensive car with autopilot, then you can, well, basically text and be driven rather than text and drive. Actually goes around these corners fairly well. It doesn't have a whole lot of initial turning in. Actually, I think it handles well. This curb is too tall. I always underestimate how tall that curb is. So yeah, the only thing that's lacking a little bit in this, if there's one thing that's only a little bit lacking in this car, it's the engine. But that's okay because we're trying to build a sort of economy car, and it does at least do the 50 kilometer an hour speed limit up the hills as well. So it's not too bad on the engine. Overall, I think this is a very solid car. It did well in automation as well, so this is a good contender for right now. Next up, we would have the Hachura sedan. If the Tesla Autopilot doesn't drive into a semi-truck. True. But then again, with the Tesla, you do get software updates for the infotainment system consistently. So the autopilot is gonna be improved over time as well. And I think that's very cool that on Teslas, you know, the car does come with original software when you buy it, but you do get all the updates as well that come out as the technology progresses. Oh yeah, this is the 260 horsepower car, right? Where's all that power now? Oh man. Yeah, the brakes are trash. That was 4 brakes as you saw. Now it should at least be fast here. Endless wheel spin apparently. Where's all that power now? Wasn't this the car with the with the 8-liter V8? Yeah, and it weighs like 2,000 kilograms. Very, very soft suspension. Potentially actually too soft, right? Yeah, we don't really have brakes in this car. So, in return, you shouldn't really put an 8-liter engine on the bonnet either. So, I mean, having bad brakes is not really good, but acceptable or manageable if you don't have a powerful engine either, but this does. Yeah, handling isn't really its strong suit either, so... I mean, the engine does make the most power in the competition, but it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, it understeers a lot because it's very heavy. And the brakes are just awful. Yeah, I don't like this one that much. And this also used like 41 liters per 100 kilometers in automation, so yeah, this one's not gonna win. The Imp 2105E. Oh yeah, this car that had tires too wide for its wheel wells, it oversteers actually. A 2.6 liter engine, the inline 4 actually feels decently powerful, but how is it gonna deal with this? Actually better than I expected, because this car is slammed. Brake check. Oh, yeah, much better than the previous car. Uphill check. Yeah, I don't know how that how that didn't take the bumper off either. Okay, we shifted to second gear, but we can't really go any faster right now. Okay, that's fine though. This is acceptable. This is a small, short wheelbase car. Should be agile, and it does feel like it for now. But how is it gonna do in the jump test? Doesn't feel all too comfortable. Okay, that took the bumper off. Yeah, brakes are good. Understeer, actually. Very understeering this car. Yeah. Lots of understeer in this one. Let's see. Now it pulls to the left. But yeah, it understeers too much, and it's too low to be a family car, really. That's the resume for this one. Otherwise, it's okay. Next up, the Jidosha Kogaku Kanbina. Another inline 4. Okay, you do notice that this, this was the 1.3 with 70 horsepower or something like that. And you do notice that, okay, in the higher RPMs, It's okay, but let's go back to lower RPMs again. Even in, let's say, first gear. Nothing. Now it starts. Yeah, there is no torque in this car. Kind of nervous over that, but and brake. Good. I don't expect this to be very good here. Yeah, it isn't. Look at that. Okay, you really don't want to get stuck at the traffic light where it goes uphill afterwards in this car. Like right there, the stop sign, and then... Yeah. A lot of self-driving cars are not that reliable and still show severe issues, and in Germany they thought, hey, let's have a self-driving tram in city traffic. Yeah, I'm surprised it's actually doing it. I mean, it does have 70 horsepower, which for a car that weighs 1100 kilograms is okay. It's not that bad. But the tune is just off. It doesn't have any torque. Suspension seems fine. Yeah. Brakes are good. Handles well. Handles very well, actually. Again, I was reading chat. Need to downshift as a result for this hill. Man, it's really having a hard time up here. It rides that curve beautifully, actually. Not a whole lot of understeer. I like the way it handles. The engine could use some retuning, in my opinion. And I think this also did pretty badly on the markets in automation. The Belge, I remember, also did pretty poorly on the markets, mostly because it had 0.0 comfort. It has a pretty meaty sound for a 3-cylinder. See, this is tuned better than the previous engine. It's of comparable size. It's a 1.2, the other was a 1.3. Pretty weird over that. Good brakes, again, probably because it's very light. Here the power seems to come in at about 2.5 as opposed to, 4.5. It does significantly better than the last car here, even though I think it actually has less power, doesn't it? But it's also lighter, I think. Yeah, it's almost certainly lighter. Now let's see how uncomfortable this really is. Yeah, it's pretty harsh actually. It did a second bounce after landing first. Did the same here as well. That shows you that the car is very harsh actually. Brakes are good though. Steering is good. Handles well. Okay. Yeah, well, it doesn't have the most torque, but I think the engine is this car's strong suit. Like the engine and gearing is where this car is good, but oh, yeah, I think I went through that corner a little bit too quickly. Anyway, handling is good, engine is good, but the comfort is just way too low. And I don't think this... actually, how much fuel did this use? I don't remember. Next up, the Nordic motors, which did very well in... which did very well in automation, I remember. So... this is full throttle. I mean, it's okay. But it's not good. Handled that pretty well, though. And this car doesn't need to be fast, of course. Has like, what, 95 horsepower, I think I remember. Brakes are good. Yeah, uphill is alright, I think. Let's see. Yeah, the front popped up again as well. This is very soft, this car. Brakes are decent. Handling is alright. Not much understeer. I like the look of the car, and it did very well in automation. Handles alright. It's maybe actually a little bit too soft from what we've seen on the bumps. But you can't really fault it. Like soft suspension is good. Yeah, well, I went way too fast there on the straight again. Because I'm an idiot and I thought this car would be slower in the straight line than it was, so good turning there. Yeah, good car. I mean, can't really find too much wrong with it. Maybe the suspension can't really be too soft for a family car. And the engine is okay. It did very well in automation as well. So this is another good contender, I think. The Nordic Motors F5 Eco. Next up, the Pluto Planet NT, which also did very well in automation. So let's see how it does here. Inline 6. Manual transmission. Did that pretty well. Does feel like, actually, well, pretty good brakes if you look at the numbers, relatively speaking. Does have the torque to at least accelerate a little bit in second gear when it's going uphill. So the engine is good. I think this car had like what 10 degree or nearly 10 degrees roll angle in automation, and it does show here as well. Like I don't know if this is like actually as much a roll angle as it showed in automation, but it is a lot of roll angle. I'm noticing it. The front might be a little bit too soft, actually. Even though it rolls a lot, the turning is actually not too bad. The lowest price I think was like 10,300 or something. Like just actually no, 9,800. The last car we had. This car handles well. The front is a little bit too soft, but other than that, it's good, and it did very well in automation. So this is another strong contender, I think. Hey, Piogenes, how's it going? Uh, well, perfect timing actually. We're getting right to your car. The highest, well, we've had one that was like 24,800 or whatever, like just below the price limit. This one has 75 horsepower, I think. Whoa. Well, I did get unsettled there. Brake test. Good enough. Does have torque. Not a lot. Yeah. Up the hill it does get slower and slower. Does understeer a lot as well. It's a very front heavy car apparently. I think it's front wheel drive, isn't it? The front is extremely soft. The brakes are okay. It does understeer a lot, this thing. Yeah, there I turned in very early and lifted off, so that's why it went around there well. I mean, it's not like... I mean, it's not like... It's not like, you know, as a family car, it's going to be driven on the edge. It just isn't, but... I mean, right now... Yeah, it's not that bad. How was this car in automation? I don't remember. How well did it do in like the family markets? I don't remember. Here I would say it's about average. We've seen better. We've seen worse. Yeah, okay, there was some more understeer there. Not the strongest, not the worst, I think. Pretty much in the middle from how it drove. This one was excellent in automation. Light and nimble. And I think only like 45 horsepower or something like that, but look at it go. No, I think it must have been more than 45. It must be more like... It is a small engine though. Only a 1.5 liter. Good brakes. Yeah, so, okay, so your car did well in the markets in automation. In Beam it was about average to drive, I think. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. This car, on the other hand, makes a very solid impression so far. It was among my favorites in automation as well. Did I hit something that makes it pull ever so slightly to the left? It must have, probably, right? Very good brakes. Let's take some corners. A little bit of understeer, but not a lot. And it is a family car, of course. Yeah, the first car through it, probably. You might be right on point with that, Sebasek. But this car, I think this has a really strong shot at winning this. It did very well in automation. Drives very well here. Remember that I hit a curb which did offset the handling a little bit. But even so, it handles really well. And it rides well too. It did okay in the uphill test. Yeah, so this is... I think this is my favorite so far. It was the last minute entry as well. He forgot about the challenge. And threw the car together in like 15 minutes. And the result is actually really good. Impressive. We locked the diff. Okay. I should unlock the diff. Because nobody's gonna lock the diff in real life. In this car. It still seems very tail happy though. And very quick. Brake check. Oh. Okay. A little bit scary on the brakes. They need a little bit more power. The engine doesn't though. It has a little bit too much. Yeah, look at that wheel spin. The diff is not locked at the moment. Yeah, this is more of a pony car, and that is, I think, where it also did better on the markets than in family and, you know, city and whatnot. Look at it drifting without the diff locked. Like with an open diff it did that. Suspension seems... maybe a little bit harsh for what it should be. Yeah, brakes are bad. It drifts that much with an open diff even. Come on, give me a reverse. Is there also a score in MPG? I think I went over that in the automation part. I don't remember the numbers now. Excuse me. some understeer in this one, and then a lot of oversteer if you do put your foot down. Yeah, this car just has too much power for its own good. Yeah, it is not my favorite car as a family car. It's fun. It's more of a pony car though. Doesn't really meet the challenge all that well. Uh, we have 3 more cars to go. Missed the automation part due to a bus being. Ah, that sucks. Boxer 6 engine here, huh? Goes reasonably well, actually. Took that very well, very smoothly. Let's see the brakes. Better. Much better, actually, than the last car. This is front engine, yeah. Was it front wheel drive or rear wheel drive? We'll figure that out in a second. Front, most likely. Yeah, it is better balanced than the last car for sure. Very nice balance for the shock absorption here as well. Better brakes. Good handling too. Yeah, it is front wheel drive, I'm pretty sure. Drives well though. How did this score in automation again? Because here it drives well. I don't remember how it did in automation. I think it was decent. But I really like it here, actually. Yeah, very well done on this car. Volkswagen Golf. I remember this one wasn't all that good in automation. Wow, it turns sharp. Let's see about this. Whoa. Yeah, it's too low. Let's go to that road again, but this time not hit the curb. This only had like 45 horsepower, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, being super light, the brakes are very effective, of course. But how's it gonna do here? Not too terribly, actually. Yeah, it's not too terrible. We've had cars that were slower up here, and this only has 45 horsepower. Let's see about suspension travel in the jumping test. It does bounce up again after... yeah, that doesn't seem... Like, it's also very nose heavy, of course. Because it's a very small light car and the engine's up front. And the front wheel drive, of course. Handling is good. It's a tight little car. Not the most comfortable, I imagine. This is more in the sporty side of a Golf. Sort of like a Golf GTI, but with a much weaker engine. Yeah, imagine having a Golf GTI, but your engine got stolen somehow, and someone... And you could only afford putting a 45 horsepower engine in there. That's what this feels like. Didn't do particularly well in automation. Here it drove well, apart from the fact that it's a little bit too harsh. Well, a lot too low as well, as we saw on that first curb. Last but not least, Zabrava Zabra, which I believe was fairly weak in automation. This one's rear-wheel drive. Sort of weird over that, but still okay. Brakes are okay. Engine performance is fine. It's actually more than fine. This might be among the quickest cars up here that we've seen. See how it handles this. To go a little bit faster. It's okay. I'd say the suspension travel and ride quality is fine. Brakes are good. Cornering is sort of weird. It does have good initial turning in, but then it pushes to the outside. And it likes to kick the tail out, which, you know, is fun, but not really that much if you're, you know, a 37-year-old mother who just bought a car, you know, to get the kids around, and then, you know, it oversteers. Oh man, there was some bad understeer there. Okay, so in short, the three cars I liked best were the Cleveland V6, the this one. This did very well in automation, I remember as well. This one drove very well. I can't remember how I liked it in automation though. So if you bear with me for just a few more minutes, I'm gonna go back to automation and the community challenge. The community challenge shall be decided in automation this time, because it's very close in beam between those three cars, and I want to have some numbers to back up my thoughts. And I just didn't remember the numbers because there were too many cars. Let's see. Go back into automation. No, actually, don't do the update yet, please. For automation, I want to see the cars as they are. Oh, come on! Now it does the update automatically when after I hit start the game. So yeah, I'm gonna get beam tuning right one of these days. All. Yeah, I mean it does. It does take a little bit of practice, but once you have it, once you get it, done right, like once you get it right once, you learn a lot about how it should be, and that helps a lot. Oh, come on. Why is this taking so long, this update? How big is it? 200 megabytes, actually. That shouldn't take that long, though. Internet seems to be weak, but then again, I am also streaming right now. Come on. So how's everyone doing? Yeah, it's a content update. Yeah, it will give us more bodies as well, which is gonna be nice. Good, just chilling out. I'm pretty good. Yeah, me too actually. Um, Tomorrow is Sunday, which I'm looking forward to just because it's Sunday. And uh, yeah, Monday back to work, of course, work from home. Um, Making a 50 scrap box is impossible because then the scrap box was an upper middle class car. Was it? More bodies is always a plus. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Let's see. Hopefully automation doesn't take too long to load now. The update is finished. I used to hate Mondays, so I stopped working on Mondays. Then again, um, if you stop working on Mondays, then basically Tuesday becomes your new Monday, doesn't it? So the problem isn't really out of the world if you stop working on Mondays. So Yeah, it did. So I stopped working on Tuesdays too. Yeah, I guess you stopped working altogether, didn't you? Okay, let's see. The free cars that I'm interested in right now is the GMG Cleveland. No, I work Wednesday to Saturday. Okay, fair enough. I hated Monday so much they released Monday too. So this performed well in Beam. 18,100, 18.6 liters, 89.72. Fine scores here. Not the best we've seen, but pretty good. Yeah, I guess there's not much else I'm looking for at this point. The second one was one of the... No. This one. Let's see. Oh, it actually does very well here. Very strong scores. So it's going to be between this and the other one, I think. Whew, 14.9 liters is very strong for a car of this size as well, because this is over 5 meters long. This is a proper American sedan. Looks good too, in my opinion. Yeah, the Boxer 6 did a good job in Beam, actually. This engine, at least. For instance, it's gonna be did a lot better than I remembered. Yeah, same. And now this one. $67 horsepower, okay. That explains why it went better than I thought it should. Very good in city eco and city, and in family, but none of the scores are as high as the other cars. What this does have going for it, of course, is the economy, and the price. But it is a much smaller car, remember? You know, it's 1.3 meters shorter. It's like 4 feet extra car in the other car. And it's tough. Because this is an actual city car. But I didn't necessarily ask for a city car, I asked for a family car, so this does fit the bill, but so does the other one. This is more of a city car than the other one, but the other car is more suited for, you know, an actual family of 5, because it's just larger and more spacious. So, guys, what do you think? The other is higher in the markets you wanted. True. Give us 2 options: city, eco, or family. Yeah. Split it in half. Have a family section and have a city section. Okay, and then we would have 2 winners this time. If I understood your point correctly. Family and family premium. Yeah, I mean, basically I allowed a family and family premium as well as city and city eco and whatever. Like with family and family premium, I meant like American sedans or wagons, I guess, just like this one. And with city and city eco, I meant like small European style hatchbacks or sedans, like the other car. Add up the scores for all 4 markets. Well, you see, that's not really that possible because we have 2 different philosophies here. This one is more of a premium car as well, whereas the other has basically no interior at all. So this scores better in city premium, but worse in city eco and city because it's more expensive. Whereas the other car isn't gonna do well in family premium, but more in family because it's cheaper. So you can't really compare them. You know, it's apples to oranges here, really. With that being said, I think we should have 2 winners. Based on what I literally just said, it's apples and oranges. It's 2 types of cars. As a result, this would be the winner in the family car section. So congratulations to Donutsnail. And then congratulations to RetroSteve for winning the city category. Second and third place in the family category. Let's see. In the family category, we had the this takes a second place because this was the last car among the top 3. So this naturally takes second place in the family section, and in the it was one of the Blue Estate cars, either the Pluto or the Nordic Motors. Both did very well. I can't remember who did better. But whoever of the 2 is better is going to take third place in the family section. So let's see. This was the inline 6 that drove very, very well, actually. Yeah, 115. And then the other car, the Nordic Motors, I believe did slightly worse on the markets, but still very well. If I remember correctly, but I may not. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, it does still do very well here, but the Pluto did slightly better. And I think it looks slightly better as well. So third place is gonna go to the Pluto in the family section. And then second and third place in the city section. Let's see, what do we have? We had... Oh yeah, there was that. We had the Golf. We had the La Belge. We had this, which I would kind of classify as that. So second place, I think this was let down by the... actually, no, the Golf was fairly good, wasn't it? And then there was also this thing. Yeah, this is gonna take... actually, no, this uses too much fuel. And that was the one problem that had. The second place is gonna go to the Golf. And then the third place is gonna go... Yeah, the third place is gonna go to this because it drove very well. So... But still, congratulations to Donutsnail for winning the family car category, and congratulations to RetroSteve for winning the city category. Right, guys, that's it for today. I will be doing car reviews tomorrow on the stream, so I'm gonna be reviewing cars that that you guys sent in for review on the Discord channel, in the Cars for Review channel. And I'm gonna be starting at 6 p.m. GMT again, just like today. That is 8 p.m. Central European time. Hope to see you there tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye bye.